Why Trump is interested in Greenland and Venezuela. When we talk about global hotspots in 2026, two places stand out that might surprise you. Venezuela in South America and Greenland way up in the Arctic. They're thousands of kilometers apart in completely different climates, and yet both have become central to one leader's foreign policy vision, Donald J. Trump's second presidency. So why these two places? And what's driving Trump's interest in them? Let's unpack the story, piece by piece. Venezuela, oil security and the Donroe Doctrine. In early January 2026, the United States carried out a dramatic military operation in Venezuela. Special forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and took him to the United States to face charges. Some European and global analysts were stunned. Others saw it as consistent with a broader Trump strategy. Trump and his advisors have framed the action as part of a renewed hemispheric security thrust. Behind this is what some commentators now refer to as the Donroe Doctrine, a modern twist on the Monroe Doctrine, in which the U.S. asserts dominance in the Western Hemisphere and views challengers to its influence as threats. According to this worldview, Venezuela wasn't just a troubled country. It was seen as a state that posed risks, from drug trafficking to potential security weaknesses that rivals could exploit. The U.S. also has significant interests in Venezuelan oil. Its vast, long untapped or underutilized reserves that have global importance. Reuters reporting notes that Trump's team has pushed deals to access Venezuelan crude, even imposing tariffs connected to it. For Trump's base, this kind of decisive action plays into a larger narrative. Take bold steps to secure American interests, even if that means using force when diplomacy fails. Some voters believe this restores U.S. power on the world stage, but the strategy is controversial internationally and even within the United States. Critics argue it weakens the norms of sovereignty and could drag the U.S. into long-term commitments far outside its borders. Greenland. Geography meets great power competition. Now shift your gaze north. Greenland might seem remote. It has a small population, harsh winters, and is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. But it sits on the doorstep of the Arctic, a region rapidly gaining geopolitical importance as ice melts and new sea routes emerge. Trump's interest in Greenland isn't new. He first raised the idea of acquiring it years ago. But in 2026, the rhetoric escalated sharply. Trump repeatedly said the United States must acquire Greenland, framing it as vital for national security and NATO's strength. So what's behind that? First, Greenland's location is strategic. It sits between North America and Europe, making it key for early warning systems, missile defense, and military positioning. American military presence has already existed there since World War II. Taking formal control would expand that presence dramatically. Second, Greenland is rich in natural resources. Rare earth minerals, critical for electronics, energy systems, and defense technologies, are believed to be abundant under its ice. As global competition for these materials grows, so does strategic interest. Trump and some allies argue that if the U.S. doesn't assert ownership, rivals like China or Russia might fill the vacuum. In a January 2026 offer, Trump said the U.S. would seek Greenland one way or the other to prevent that. Political drivers behind both interests. When you look at both Venezuela and Greenland together, a pattern emerges. Trump's approach is rooted in a belief that American strength and decisiveness should be projected globally. He's less concerned with international opinion and more focused on hard power, influence measured in tangible control rather than diplomacy alone. As one expert noted, voices within the administration have described international law as secondary to real-world power. Inside Trump's circle, advisors like Stephen Miller have pushed hard on both issues, advocating for expansionist policies that break from traditional U.S. restraint. Reactions and consequences. Of course, other countries aren't standing still. Denmark and Greenland have rejected U.S. takeover efforts, insisting on sovereignty. European allies have spoken out, warning that coercion could harm NATO and transatlantic relations. And globally, analysts see these moves as part of a wider shift, where the U.S. under Trump is ready to use military force or strategic pressure to reshape regions it considers vital. In Venezuela, that means shaping who governs and how its resources are managed. In Greenland, it means positioning the U.S. deep in Arctic geopolitics. Whether you agree or disagree with this approach, it's already reshaping global politics in 2026.